Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Yasodanana Brada Janaranjana. Yasodanana Brada Janaranjana. Yamuna Tirha Vanacharya. Yamuna Tirha Vanacharya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Yasodanana Brada Janaranjana. Yasodanana Brada Janaranjana. Yamuna Tirha Vanacharya. Yamuna Tirha Vanacharya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Brahmadakacharya Asadhara Satushi Shiman. His Divine Grace Shri Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Harival. Glories to the sound devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Agana Timanandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Parakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Zvitamscha. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabando Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanshena Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishu Bhanu Sudha Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivastadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, Chapter 24, Explanations of the Atmarama verse, text number 272. Narada kahe vyada ena haya ascharya Hari Bhaktiye Himsa Shunya Haya Sadhu Varya. Hari Bhaktiye Himsa Shunya Haya Sadhu Varya. Narada kahe vyada ena haya ascharya. Narada kahe vyada ena haya ascharya. Hari Bhaktiye Himsa Shunya Haya Sadhu Varya. Haya Ascharya. Hari Bhakti Himsa Shunya Haya Sadhu Varya. Hari Bhakti Himsa Shunya Haya Sadhu Varya. Ladies. Nardakahe Vyada Ehaya Naya Ascharya. Hari Bhakti Hinsa Shunya Haya Sadhu Varya. Nardakahe. Narada Muni said, Vyada, my dear hunter, Enahaya Ascharya. This is not wonderful for you. Hari Bhakti, by advancement in devotional service. Himsa Shunya Haya, one becomes non-violent and non-envious. Sadhu Varya, thus one becomes the best of honest gentlemen. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Is there some translator for Russian? Who's the translator? In the back there. Oh, Хорошо. It's по-английски, русский. Okay. Narada said, my dear hunter, such behavior is not at all astonishing. A man in devotional service is automatically non-violent. He is the best of gentlemen. Please repeat. Narada Muni said, my dear hunter, such behavior is not at all astonishing. A man in devotional service is automatically non-violent. He's the best of gentlemen. Purport. In this verse, the word sadhu varcharya means the best of gentlemen. At the present moment, there are many so-called gentlemen who are expert in killing animals and birds. Nevertheless, these so-called gentlemen profess a type of religion that strictly prohibits killing. According to Narada Muni and Vedic culture, animal killers are not even gentlemen, to say nothing of being religious men. A religious person, a devotee of the Lord, must be nonviolent. Such is the nature of a religious person. It is contradictory to be violent and at the same time call oneself a religious person. Such hypocrisy is not approved by Narada Muni and the disciple succession. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhute Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tanamane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskatyade Satarane. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yesham antagatam papam janam punya karmanam te dvanva moha niramuktva bhajante mam drida vritaha. That those who have practiced in their previous lifetimes pious activities and given up all sinful activities, who are free from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. So Prabhupada explains that there is a sequence of coming to the spiritual platform and eventually coming to pure consciousness of Krishna. And it begins with acting religiously. So religiousness, as we know, includes 4 categories, namely cleanliness, mercy, truthfulness, and austerity. Without those 4, one is not even approaching the human form of life. Especially, we know that cleanliness and truthfulness are the qualities, especially of a Brahmin. And the other is truthfulness and, of course, austerity. As we know, Maharaj Yudhisthira was a great king. He never told a lie. And we know that in this age, the only thing left standing of the bull's legs is truthfulness. Hopefully it's still standing somewhere. And the other ones, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness, have long gone. Truthfulness, of course, means to accept reality as it actually is. And reality, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, in many times, beginning with Denos minata dehe komaram yovanam jara tata dahantra praptir diryas tatra namuyati. This reality we have to be reminded of, that our bodies are changing. But we ourselves within the body, we're not changing. Otherwise, we think we're going to be here forever. Ahani bhutani gachanti amalayam shesha stavra icchanti kimascharyam atakparam. That the main illusion in material existence is that I'm going to be here forever. And therefore I don't have to worry about the soul, because this body is as good as the soul. And I'm going to enjoy here, and things are only going to get better. The internet will get faster, the computer memory will get bigger. It doesn't matter what happens to my memory. I can always press the button and remind me of what my name is, if I have to. I just have to remember where the button is. I have to press. As one man was talking to his wife, talking to his friend about a wonderful restaurant they had gone to yesterday. And he was saying it was a fantastic restaurant. I just can't remember. And their wives, of course, were cooking in the kitchen. And so the man said to his friend, I could tell you the name of the restaurant, but you have to give me a hint, and then I can remember what it is. So the man said, okay, give me the hint. He said, it's like this flower, and it smells very nice, and it's usually red. So the man said, Rose. He said, that's right. Hey, Rose, what was the name of the restaurant we went to yesterday? That was the wife cooking in the kitchen. So As our memory decreases, tatas chanudinam satyam, tatas chanudinam dharma sattvam socham daya shama kalena balira rajan nakshatnena balam smriti. Day after day, certain things are decreasing that are important, namely dharma. Because after all, the Shudra was beating on Dharma the bull, trying to just kill the bull. And so day after day, people are killing the bull and the cow and other living entities, but beginning with killing the cow and the bull. And the tastanudinam dharma, satyam, and truthfulness is being destroyed, the last leg of the bull. They're cutting the bull. Socham, cleanliness. Then again, those are the two legs that we were talking about. Cleanliness, austerity, which are killed by illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and speculation and gambling. Tatasanudiyam dharma, satyam socham daya, mercy, shama, tolerance. So these are the four legs of the bull that are being diminishing, are being destroyed day after day. Balena kalira rajan, by the strong influence of Kali Yuga, then people's memory and their strength are being diminished day after day. So people have forgotten, they cannot understand that their bodies are changing and that they themselves within the body are eternal. And therefore they've made this civilization where they think by scientific advancement that it doesn't matter what they do, somehow or another it's all going to be corrected by the scientists. The scientists are like the priests in modern society, or the doctors, whatever sin you've done, you go to the doctor, he gives you a pill, and the sin is excused. I overate, take the pill, and it'll digest all the food in your stomach, maybe your stomach also, but we can give you a plastic one, don't worry. Maybe my brain will disappear, but we have plastic ones which are better. So this is going on day after day. People cannot understand even the most basic philosophy that they're not their body. What to speak of the fact that everyone else is not their body also. Vidya vinaya sampane brahmani gavihastadi shuni chaiva swapake cha pandita samadarshanaha. That the humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with an equal vision the learned and gentle Brahman, the cow, the dog, and the dog eater. So this is possible only when one begins with a religious principle. Otherwise, by meat eating, gambling, intoxication, and illicit sex, one's intelligence is just taken away. And when one's intelligence is taken away, one's memory is taken away with it. And when one's memory is taken away along with intelligence, one is simply absorbed in illusion. If we want to see what kind of illusion we're absorbed in, just look in the mirror and ask the mirror, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the greatest of them all? And generally speaking, the mirror doesn't say Krishna or Vishnu, it says you're looking at it. You're looking at the worshipful deity. And now you should make a vow that you should serve that deity with full attention, unalloyed attention, and without any hesitation throughout the whole day. And so we take a shower because we're devotees, Abhishek. Then we clothe the deity and decorate it, put perfume on it, not for ourselves, but for our devotees. And then we feed the deity all kinds of food stuff to empower it more. And then we go out to spread the glories of the deity all around the three temples in Sankirtan. So this is due to commonly called illusion. We may consider ourselves very advanced, very intelligent, very opulent. Ourselves, what to speak of the common person who actually believes that this society is making progress forward. It's all due to illusion. And because of illusion, as Krishna says, Trividam narakasyedam dwaram nashitam atmanaha kama krodha tatalo vas tasmat etam trayam chayet. There are three gates leading to hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane person should become free from these three gates because they lead to the degradation of the self. So it's all right, we're an illusion. It's not all right. Anyhow, we're an illusion, and therefore we have to consider how to get out of illusion. So the way of getting out of illusion is by utilizing lust, anger, greed, all these different things, but engaging in Krishna's service in spite of the fact. This is our opportunity. And therefore, one should learn how to act piously. Piously means in this age, of course, is to chant Hare Krishna. But just not chant Hare Krishna, but also understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So, as I said before, as Krishna said before, Tad buddhiyas tad atmanas tad nishtas tad parayanaha gajantya puna avritim jnana niduta kamasha. We have to use our spiritual intelligence by hearing. We have to feed our spiritual intelligence by hearing about Krishna, hearing his philosophy. And the first philosophy is, we're not the body, nor is anyone else. Therefore, samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinasha vinashantam yak pashati sapashati. One who can see that the soul, along with the supersoul, within the destructible body is never destroyed, he can actually see. So unless we respect all living entities as eternal spiritual beings, and that whatever they're doing, they're being guided by the supersoul, whether they're acting in devotional service or they're acting under Krishna's maidservant, Maya, still everyone is Krishna's eternal servant. They don't stop becoming Krishna's eternal servant. And that we ourselves are also Krishna's servant. And then it's our duty to find out what Krishna wants us to do, and he doesn't want us to harm anyone. Now, of course, there are different degrees of harm. The worst harm, of course, is killing the cow, the bull, our original mother and father, as well as what to speak of what's going on in Kali Yuga, Prabhupada would usually say is unmentionable. But at least when the sages were speaking at Namasharanya, and they heard that a Shudra was beating on a cow and a bull, they couldn't believe it. It was like they couldn't even conceive of such a thing could happen. And what to speak of the things that are happening nowadays that were shocking maybe 100 years ago and that are completely normal nowadays. So as things degrade in Kali Yuga, people become less than animals. The animals would be embarrassed to associate with such people because they have much higher standards of morality. As Prabhupada used to say, that the animals, the tiger on the weekend doesn't go out to hunt other animals just for sport. No, even the animals don't hunt for sport, for entertainment. And that the human beings have become so degraded that they have no idea what they're doing. Like here, Narada Muni is talking to a hunter who enjoys half-killing animals. So this is normal nowadays. People enjoy watching other living entities suffer, and it's considered completely normal. But Narada Muni didn't consider it normal, and therefore he showed the hunter what his future was going to be. That all these animals that he was half-killing would come back and torture him, not something you look forward to. But because people don't understand karma, even the religious people don't understand karma. Even very good religious people don't understand karma. They think it's some kind of superstition because they've lost their intelligence. And why have they lost their intelligence? Because they're absorbed in lust, anger, and greed, especially They may believe in God. They may believe that there's a controller behind the universe. They may believe in so many different things, but they don't believe in this. They don't have any information what the real soul is, or what the aim of the Supreme Person is. They think that only human beings have souls. They've adopted a religion which there are major philosophers like St. Thomas Aquinas. He wrote a book, his philosophy, that there are three kinds of living entities. He said that they're animals, they have no soul. They're human beings, the men have a soul, and the women only have a half a soul. With such a philosophy, what can you expect from the religion? It's like in Africa, of which we have some representatives here. So they can verify. There's a tribe in South Africa. They believe, from what I understand when I was in South Africa, that if you're alive, you're good. And if you're dead, you're bad. So if I kill you because I'm still alive, I'm good. But because you're dead, you're bad. So I was justified to kill you because you're dead and you're bad. That may not be the whole philosophy. They may have some subtleties to it. But anyhow, this is the idea that people have lost their intelligence, their illusion, and they have no idea what reality is. Now they think Shastra means some kind of speculation, some kind of sentiment. But actually Shastra simply deals with reality. Three aspects of reality. One is that we're eternal. Now anyone who doesn't understand that the body's changing, but they're not changing, they have the same intelligence as the animal. It's not that anyone who sits up here and gives a class, then suddenly they start criticizing everyone. You're an animal, you're a dog, you're a hog, you're a camel, you're an ass. It says that in the scripture, I'm not saying it. No, it's the reality, the fact that the body is changing, but we're not changing. And if we can't understand that, we have the same intelligence as the cow or the ass. That's all. It's not a criticism, it's reality. And if we don't understand that, then the next verse in the 13th chapter, Krishna says, Samam Pashani Sarvatra, Samam Pashati Ishvaram, Ehinasyatmanatmanam, Tatoyati Param Gitim. The next aspect of Shastra says that there's a super soul guiding all living entities. Now we may like to imagine that we're independent, but anyone can understand that they're dependent upon their memory. And we're not in control of our memory. If we take a certain intoxication, then we can't even remember who we are anymore. We start imagining we're something we're not. When we go to sleep at night, we forget who we are. We start thinking we're something we're not. Maybe a bird flying overhead, maybe a general on the battlefield, or maybe other things. And even now, we're depending on our memory. Just like there's so many devotees in the room, everyone can go and say their name, and let's see who can remember everyone's name in the room after everyone says their name. And maybe someone can. So everyone has memory, but not to the same extent. Everyone has intelligence, but not to the same degree or the same kind. Just like I saw some ants today. Every day I see ants, because it's not that anyone is eating sweets here, but we see ants sometimes. Of course, maybe devotees are eating sweets, because devotees like sweets. Anyhow, the ants like sweets too. But if there was a contest between ourselves and the ant, who could find the sugar quicker, I think the ants would win, because they're empowered to do that. They may not be able to write a nice essay about Krishna, but they can certainly find the sweets quicker than we can. We have the theory, they have the practice. They have the vegan. So, who's giving them the intelligence to find the sweets? Who's giving us the intelligence to write the essay? That's Paramatma within our heart. That's the reality. And if we don't utilize Paramatma's intelligence, then it just goes away. He stops talking to us. So when we remember something, we should not take the credit for it. We should actually recognize that this is actually Paramatma. Just like Prabhupada in his lecture in 1972 in Vrindavan, his famous Nectar of Devotion lectures. And there he was talking about how the spiritual master sees his disciples. Does he see, I'm the spiritual master, by my mercy, you're getting grace and the eternal abode. I'm as good as the super soul, because I am, there's no difference between me and the super soul, we're a team together. Is that how he sees it? Is that even real? No. He said that actually the spiritual master sees that he's able to remember anything by the grace of the super soul. And that's true for everyone. But the super soul, because of his connection with his spiritual master, is helping him to remember the instructions of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. And therefore, when he gives instructions to his disciple, he understands it's not his instructions, it's actually the instructions of the super soul, conveying the message of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra to him, so that he repeats it to those who are inquisitive, answering. And therefore, when he sees his disciples or followers following his instructions, he knows it's not his instructions, but it's actually Krishna's and his spiritual master's instructions that he's simply conveying as an instrument. And therefore, when he sees his disciples performing devotional service, he learns from them how to become a better servant of his spiritual master and Krishna. So he sees his disciples as a kind of guru, if they're performing devotional service, of course. In other words, the reality of the super soul within our heart, equal everywhere, giving everyone, he's in remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness, and giving everyone the opportunity to hear about himself, to hear about Krishna, and therefore make progress towards towards Bhagavan, which is the ultimate goal. And therefore our free will actually consists of either we're going to hear about Krishna and devotional service, see things in relationship to Krishna and devotional service, tadbuddhayas. In other words, by hearing and filling our consciousness with instructions and understandings of Krishna, then we gain buddhi, we gain intelligence. And the result is tadbuddhayas tad atmanas, that our minds become filled with devotional qualities, devotional feelings, devotional consciousness, and we can see what Shastra is saying. And when we can see what Shastra is saying, even theoretically, then the result is, because the memory is within the mind, intelligence gives the mind direction. And so we're hearing as the first step to gain theoretical knowledge, and then we hear and we try to assimilate, then we can actually see what the Shastra is saying. Just like Braj Bihari was giving the class yesterday, Braj Bihari Prabhu. And how to get mercy. So that mercy is that, what's the first word of that verse again? Tate nukampam susamikshmano. So anukampam. Does anyone remember a verse in Bhagavad Gita that talks about anukampam? What's the verse? Tesham sadatam. And then the next one. Tesham eva anukamparta. Ham agana jam tamaha. Nasham yam yatma bhavashto. Jnana dipena bhashvataha. Anukampam. We're trying to get Krishna's compassion. Is that embarrassing? I don't want to, someone should be compassionate to me. I'm such a great personality. I know so much. I have so much opulence. Why should anyone be compassionate upon me? Even Krishna should be envious of me. Why should I ask for his compassion? Who does he think he is anyhow? Just because he sits on the altar all day long. Doesn't do very much. But I go out and I distribute books all day long. I cook. I'm the one who's actually doing things around here. He's just standing there. He can't do very much. He's crippled. Whatever our thoughts are. But actually we want Krishna's compassion because we want to deserve Krishna's compassion. We want to feel at least that we need his compassion. So how to feel like that? So we have to actually see things nicely. And that seeing things nicely, it can't change. It's not like seeing things nicely means, according to my vision. No, sama. According to Krishna's vision, iksha, knowledge. And then we fill our minds with that knowledge of how everyone is Krishna's eternal servant. We see everyone equally as Krishna's servant, and we try to serve them. Then we can actually expect Krishna's mercy. After all, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Yari Deka, Tarikaha, Krishna Upadesh, Amara Agar Guru Taradesh. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the instruction that our perfection life will be Yari Deka, that whoever we see, Yari Deka Tarikaha, Krishna Upadesh. We want to help them become Krishna conscious. That's equality. It doesn't matter what their body is. It doesn't matter whether they're a tiger, whether they're a human being, whether they have a full soul or half soul, whatever they have. Our equality is that everyone is Krishna's eternal servant and everyone has an eternal relation with Krishna. And our only duty is to figure out, by Krishna's mercy, to give us the intelligence, to give us the intelligence coming from Guru, Sadhana, and Shastra, which is the same as Krishna, how to help others, how to serve others to develop their relation with Krishna. That's what goes on in the spiritual world. That's all that goes on. Everyone is trying to develop more and more love for Krishna and his servants. And that's all the business that we're supposed to go on in this world amongst human beings. It may be different. We serve the tiger differently than we serve the human being. We recognize that there is difference in bodies, but the same message is there. One time I wrote to Srila Prabhupada, I said, when I go out on book distribution, when I see different personalities, how should I preach to them? So Prabhupada said, no, you preach the same thing to everyone. Not exactly the same thing, but sometimes we do that anyhow, because there's certain lines that everyone can appreciate. Like I go up to everyone on the street, especially in Australia, because they're quite simple in Australia. She'll be right, mate, no worries. And we give them a book and just say, here, take this book. And I say, I'm a monk. Do you know what a monk is? And they go, I think so. And I say, well, I'm not a punk. I'm not a skunk. I'm a monk. Get them to laugh. Everyone likes to laugh. And they say, well, take the book and give a donation. Because the more you tell people on book distribution, the less likely they are to take the book. Because you got to capture their mind, which if you're really powerful, you can capture for a few seconds. Then after that, their mind starts wandering. What is this person? What is he trying? Is he preaching to me? What is he trying to tell me? I have no interest in this book. So if you go on too long, then people lose interest, and you've lost them. You got to capture their intelligence, and usually it's just by getting them to say yes, yes, yes. Are you from around here? Like Vaishya used to knock on doors. And when people would answer the door, he asked them, do you live here? Most of the time, you get a yes. And that's the important thing to do, is get a yes. Do you have a family? Yes. How many children do you have? I have 5. Well, that's a good family, yes. And can you give a donation? I guess yes, sure, why not? It's all very positive. People put people in the right mood and get them to say yes, yes, yes. Give a donation, yes, yes. Yeah. So to understand that tad buddhiyas, tad atmanas. So we're trying to hear so that our minds we can see what the Shastra is saying. And then tad buddhiyas, tad nishta. We have faith that these devotees, these people everyone is Krishna's eternal servant, and I don't have a whole lot of things to tell them, but I just want them to help them, engage them in devotional service. I remember one time I was on Radha Damodar, if you ever heard Radha Damodar, the book distribution party, and I had a party, so I had to drop off. I had like 10 people on my party. So I had to drop them all off on I guess I had a van. And we had to drop them off in different places, in different cities. And then I had to pick them up. And I had a quote, everyone had a quota on Radha Damodar. Of course, they allowed us to eat even if we didn't fulfill the quota, but it was embarrassing if you didn't do it. Especially when they read the names and everyone's going, Jai, Jai. And they say, Prahladana Swami did so much. Oh. So sorry. So we had some pressure to do the quota, and I dropped everyone off, and I was very tired, and I had to do my quota, distribute books, and collect Lakshmi. And I was going out, and my mind was disturbed, and everyone was saying, "Get lost, get a job, go home." And I was thinking, these people are demons; they deserve what they get. I've come here to save you. Don't you know who I am? I'm your only hope. I'm the truth and the light. You're not coming to Krishna except through me. Then I realized my mind is more disturbed than theirs. So I sat down and I started to read the Bhagavad Gita, and I realized my mind is so disturbed, I'm not hearing a word of what Prabhupada is saying in his purport. So then I kept on reading the same purport over and over and over again. And finally, I realized, what does it say? It says, everyone is Krishna's eternal servant. And it's our business is to try to help them. I said, wow, that makes sense. So then my mind wasn't disturbing me. So I went, hey, take this book. And they go, yeah, sure, why not? Then I regained my enthusiasm. And I was able to go out and fight for Krishna. So, nishta, faith, that actually Krishna's the supreme person, everyone is his eternal servant, and our business is to help others understand their some or another, get them to begin to understand their relation with Krishna. That's our success. And then, Parayana, tad buddhiyas, tad atmanas, tad nishta, tad parayana. Take shelter of Krishna, and then he'll empower one, whatever our desires are. When I wound up in Houston, Texas. Prabhupada told my temple president to send me somewhere to open a temple. First I was in Coconut Grove, and then they told me to hitchhike over to Houston with Vishnu John Maharaj, if you ever heard of him. And Srinath was there, and myself. But Houston, Texas was deep south, 1970, where they used to hang people like ourselves, weird people, just to purify the land. So I was standing there. We didn't have all these techniques, you hand someone a book, and we didn't know what we were doing. It was just pure enthusiasm, pure faith. I remember Vishnu John Maharaj, he had no idea how to distribute a book. So the only model he had was the Jehovah's Witnesses. So he'd stand there with the book out. He wouldn't say a word and hope someone would come along, which they never did. And my other Srinath Prabhu, he didn't know how to. I was the only one who had some experience in book distribution, and not much of it at all. And people were not very receptive in Texas at that time. And we were right near Vidor, Texas, the Ku Klux Klan. So, but I couldn't figure out how to stop these people, what to speak or give them a book. So I started thinking, the only way of doing it, within my mind, I just pray to Krishna, please send someone. Send someone, please. I have no idea. And then someone would stop and say, well, hey, what's in your hand? I said, well, please, Krishna. Hey, boy, what's in your hand? What's the Bhakti Godhead? But you're not interested. No, give it to me. I'll give you a donation for it. Then I thought, wow, it works. There's a super soul. There's a God. And he sends people. I don't have to have all the prowess and figure out psychology. I just had to pray to Krishna, please send someone. And after some time, Krishna would send someone. And then I figured that was the prime technique. Take shelter of Krishna. That was the prime lesson. Take shelter of Krishna. So, and then what happens, then Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmani Gavihastini Shuni Chai. Then it becomes realized that everyone is actually Krishna's servant. And then our business is to actually help people become Krishna conscious. That's our only business. That's why Prabhupada founded the Hare Krishna movement, to help people become conscious of Krishna. And when we do that, then we also will become conscious of Krishna. Or as I said before, Prabhupada once wrote to me, because I was absorbed in some kind of consciousness of Krishna, because when I first joined, there were no books, except we didn't even have a Bhagavad Gita at that time. All we had was Srila Prabhupada's original 3 Srimad Bhagavatams. And when we read them, they were not exactly in perfect English. It was really sometimes hard to figure out what they said. And I wasn't so much, I read this, we had the class every day. The first class I walked into, the first time I heard the Bhagavatam, Ashwatthama was throwing a Brahmastra at Arjuna, and the whole universe was being destroyed. I said, wow, that's pretty far out philosophy. Anyhow, we listened to it. But that was there was nothing beyond that. The 3 Srimad Bhagavatams. Burjan Prabhu would give a class 3 times a week at the university, because he was a senior devotee. He had joined 2 months before I did, so he was considered quite senior. So he was the only one allowed to give class at that time. But we didn't have a Bhagavad Gita. We only had one verse, the translation from Radha Krishna, because Prabhupada said we couldn't read the purport. He didn't, because Dr. Radha Krishna was a impersonalist. So Burjan would give class 3 times a week, and the Bhagavad Gita, and just read the verse. Denosmin yatha dehe. No, he didn't read that. He said, as the embodied soul continually passes. So I was wondering, is there any more philosophy than this? But then Rupanuga told me when I moved into the temple that there was a book I couldn't read. It was called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So I figured that if I can't read it, then I better make plans to read it. There must be something there that I should read, if he told me not to read it. I wasn't the most submissive of all the different new devotees. So when everyone went to sleep at night, I'd wake up, I'd get up, and I'd go to the room where the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu was, and I'd start reading it. So I was reading it, and I got up to the part, which is now the 19th chapter of the Nectar of Devotion, where Bhava turns into prema. So I was thinking, well, I seem to have all these symptoms of Bhava. But I'm wondering, maybe I should ask Prabhupada, because I used to send him money for the book fund, because I was the treasurer, and I'd ask him questions. So I figured I'd send Prabhupada the money, and I'd ask him some questions. So one of the questions I asked him, how does Bhava turn into prema? Now, there was no books that talked about that Prabhupada had written. So anyhow, I thought I'd ask it anyhow. So Prabhupada wrote me back this long letter about how he's very pleased we were going out and distributing back to Guideheads, and that at that time we had gotten the Blue Bhagavad Gita, and that's how I was sending him money for the Blue Bhagavad Gita, how we should go out through all of Buffalo and distribute Bhagavad Gita. And then Prabhupada wrote that, I've heard that we just had a Rath Yatra in San Francisco, and 10,000 boys and girls are dancing and chanting in full ecstasy. That the boys and girls in your country are generally good souls. That's why they've taken birth in such a nice country. Because when Prabhupada went to any country, he would always tell them that you're good souls. That's why you've taken birth in such a nice country. In South Africa, in Germany, in Switzerland. Prabhupada was always trying to be encouraging. He said, I heard that in New York, in just 2 weeks, they've distributed 3,000 Back to Godheads, and that you're also distributing Back to Godhead very nicely in Buffalo. So please continue in this way, and your success in life is assured. As Krishna sees you're working seriously to bring his other children back to the spiritual kingdom, then he'll bestow all his blessings upon you. That Krishna is never ungrateful for our efforts to serve him, rest assured. And then Prabhupada wrote on the back of the letter, he said, as far as your question, how did Baba turn into prema, there's no need to worry yourself over such questions at this present time. He said, but shortly my book, Nectar of Devotion, will come out, and you can read about it there. And besides that, he said, you said you enclosed $50 on the envelope, but I find no $50 there. So that's everyone's duty. It's not like Prabhupada was just writing to me, but everyone. The more seriously we work to help bring his other children back to the spiritual kingdom, that's why Krishna will bestow his blessings. He'll empower us to do that. And if we're, so that to develop that vision, that's called parayana. Take shelter of Krishna. For his nimitra matram bhavasava sachin. Become an instrument. So what to speak of someone like Mugrari the hunter? What kind of vision? His intelligence is completely taken away by his father, half killing animals. What to speak of bringing them to Krishna consciousness and enjoying their suffering? Our business is to give everyone happiness by Krishna consciousness. The devotees, sukha dukkhi. What is that? How does that? No. That the devotee is happy when he sees paradukhi dukhi. He's happy when he sees others happy, and he's unhappy to see others unhappy because they don't have their loving relation with Krishna. So somehow or another, whoever we are, it doesn't really matter what our service is, what our position is, who we think we are. If we simply try, whoever we meet, try to think about how to help them become conscious of Krishna. Like the householder, he doesn't have to develop, he doesn't have to become a brahmachari or a sannyasi. He has to sit down with his family morning and evening and chant Hare Krishna together. Hear Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, worship the deities, and then he's a perfect householder. He doesn't have to save the whole world. He has to save himself and his family. That's his business in Krishna consciousness. And then maybe later on, by getting the happiness of his family joyfully in Krishna consciousness, then he may extend it to his neighbors and his whole society. He may try to help everyone he comes in contact with. Realize the relation with Krishna. So here in Narada Muni, of course, will help Mugrari, the enemy of the animals. He'll help him become a devotee of Krishna also. And that's what we're trying to do. And Mugrari became a great preacher. Everyone came, and he told them about Krishna. So that's all we have to do too. Very simple. And to do that, we come here and we practice Krishna consciousness. We come to the program, we hear about Krishna, we chant about Krishna, and then we try to help others during the day, whoever we come in contact with, become conscious of Krishna. And that's our success in life. And if we get a taste for the hearing and chanting, then we'll have a taste helping whoever we come in contact with. Even we see our dog, we'll say, Hare Krishna. And even he says, rawr. Well, yeah, Hare Krishna, good. Accent's a little bad. Yeah, he has to improve. At least he's trying to chant. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions or comments? A moment of silence. Yes. Yes.
Like I come from India, and there we say Krishna and Ram, but when in the Western world it's always like Krishna and Rama.
You have to ask Sita, she knows better. But Ram, I mean, what is that? Prabhupada used to use some terminology. That Krishna, he understands, like we call out for Ram or Rama, Krishna knows our intention, that we're calling. Like Jayananda Prabhu, when he got Gayatri, Prabhupada, he was repeating the words, and Jayananda Prabhu wasn't very good at Sanskrit, so he couldn't repeat them very well. Prabhupada tried to try it again. He said, it's all right. He said, Krishna knows your intention. He knows you're sincere. It's good enough. And Prabhupada said he went back to God, and I'm sure he did. So if we're aiming at Rama, and then we remember Rama, it doesn't matter whether it's Rama or Ram or Rama. If Rama appears, then our life is successful. Yes?
Yesterday I had a conversation where we really thought that sometimes also in ISKCON we lack of humanity actually and gentleness. And you were mentioning that the devotee should become a perfect gentleman. Maybe you can enlighten us a bit on this.
Yeah, they should always open the doors for ladies. Do something that shows you respect people. That takes intelligence. That, of course, this is what Prabhupada said in the purport. When Prabhupada asked, what's the symptom of a Vaishnava? Prabhupada said he's a perfect gentleman or lady. So there's etiquette within every society, so we should know the etiquette. Otherwise, people would think that they won't have faith in us. If they have no faith in us, they don't know that we're cultured, they'll think we're just savages. They already think we're from some other planet, but at least we should present ourselves from another planet, but cultured aliens. People have some, usually they present aliens as these little green people who are, I remember there was a program, it was called Twilight Zone. You heard the Twilight Zone? It was a television program. There was only like 2 channels when I grew up, right after the dinosaurs left the planet and the television came. So there was 2 channels. One of them was the Twilight Zone. And in the Twilight Zone, everyone watched the Twilight Zone because you had no choice. There's nothing else to watch. So in the Twilight Zone, these aliens came from outer space, and they were inviting people to come to their planet. And they were handing out this book. The book said, How to Serve Man. So everyone thought, wow, let's go to their planet, because they want to serve us. So finally this man he decided, I'm going to go to the planet and get served there. So right before he was just about to board this spacecraft, his secretary came running up and said, don't get into the airplane, don't get into the spaceship. We've translated the book, and it's a cookbook. So that's not service that we want. So we have to find out what people actually want as service. What the etiquette is, and try to act like, even they think we're aliens at first, but at least we should be cultured aliens. So they want to become an alien too. Prabhupada gives the example just of one movie he saw. Prabhupada also watched movies sometimes, at least sometime. And there was a Charlie Chaplin movie. In the Charlie Chaplin movie, Charlie Chaplin was dancing with his lady friend, and then they decided to sit on a bench to rest. And on the bench, these rascals, there's always rascals in Charlie Chaplin movies, had put glue on the bench. So Charlie Chaplin was dressed in these coattails and this hat they used to have. So him and his lady friend sat on the bench, and when he got up, his coattails in the back stuck to the bench and ripped. So it was very embarrassing. But he decided he'd go into the middle of the dance, and they danced like crazy. There's just like breakdance kind of dance. And everyone thought, wow, these people are really enthusiastic. Let's imitate them. So everyone ripped their coats and they started to dance like they did. So we should act nicely so that people think that we're something special, enthusiastic, but at the same time kind and friendly to people. Like people don't join a society because they just think they're friendly society. They're looking for friends. So if we're nice to people, then people will actually become attracted. Everyone's looking for a nice person to deal with. Everyone's looking for a good servant to take home with them. So if we act like a good servant, we're friendly to people, we're nice to people, then they'll become attracted to Krishna. To Krishna's devotees. They'll think, wow, this is nice. This is nice people to associate with. So our movement is usually very expert at philosophy. We can take the book, or Bible beater. They call it in the South, what do they call it? Bible beaters or something? We take our book and we hit people over the head with the philosophy. And therefore we expect people to surrender. Hey, look, we have the best philosophy, and we're going to beat you on the head with it until you surrender. But actually people are looking for a friend. They're not looking for the perfect philosophy. They may be, but the perfect philosophy is to be kind and friendly to people, to make them feel good. And when they do then they want to associate with us. And then they can hear about the person who can make them feel the best, which is Krishna and his pure devotees. Thank you. Yes.
This text about nonviolence. We live now in this time of massive violence. I read in 2014 on website Mukunda Maharaj is concerned about your offering to U.S. Minister of Defense about to help people who are suffering in Iraq, this virus in Iraq. My interest to know their answer. We can analyze any answer.
Please make it, because we're running late, please make the question short if you have a question. Do you have a question? У вас есть вопрос?
Your offer, about your offering to U.S. Minister of Defense to help.
I know.
To help U.S. warriors in Iraq to rehabilitation using this Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah, and
my interest to know.
У вас есть,
Their response to you.
Може, пожалуйста, дай мне один вопрос.
Okay, this. Okay.
У вас есть вопрос?
Their response to you.
Okay, whatever. So, generally speaking, the only way we can help anyone is either materially or spiritually. But most people, our business, that Prabhupada founded this movement under, is primarily help them spiritually by giving them prasadam, giving them Prabhupada's books, giving them the holy name. That's our main help. That will help the soul especially, this is what this movement is meant for. Sorry, I think we better stop here. Grantaraj Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande Haribol.